Give it just one more sec, folks. There's a tour bus that's pulling up alongside the ship right now, and I want to give them a sec to climb the ropes there and get on board. It's a little rough, a little longer than usual. Ooh. That's what they call a hush coming over the audience. Hey, folks, I do want one important announcement. I did mention this before, but I want to reiterate. This is really disturbing to me, actually. Please don't buy into this. There are a lot of passengers now scalping tickets in the lobby to this for up to about $850. And please don't pay those kinds of outrageous prices. Just come see me. I'll give them to you about $325 out the door. Please don't encourage that kind of behavior. It's been an ongoing problem on these ships. You think with all the security, but still. Always a few troublemakers. Okay, folks, that looks good. What do you think? Get this party started? Let's do this. Come on, we're in this together. So you better be good today. Better be on. That looks good. Okay, thank you all for coming, folks. All right, let's get started. Let's rock and roll. And now, we are very proud to present, and I mean we are really, really proud. Almost bursting with pride, one might say. The 5-time winner of the Indy 500, the 4th astronaut on the moon, the 3-time winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, 6-time winner of the Tour de France, 3-time European ballroom champion, 17, 19, and 23, 4-time winner of the Pillsbury Bake Off, shark wrestler, auto mechanic, naturalist, unnaturalist, but more on that later, proclaimer, everybody's best friend or worst enemy, tailor, roofer, cultivator of strange notions, telephone repair person, former Secretary of State, dreamer, finder of lost souls, and of course, don't forget, the current heavyweight champion of the world, for entertainment purposes only, a guy who, if he doesn't know the answer, will make up something that sounds plausible, knowing after all we're only on here for a week, and the chance of you finding out he's wrong and locating him before we disembark is pretty darn low. So he's willing to take that chance. Daniel Gohstand. Hey, Rich. Oh, no, please. All right, come on. No. Oh, come on. No, don't. I'm blessed. That's Jim. That's my MC over there behind the curtain. It's, come on out. Say hi, Jim. Come on, Jim. Jim. Very shy. He never comes out. He's my MC and hairstylist and makeup artist, which is great because I get 3 key roles out of 1 person. I needn't share my cabin with 2 people I barely know. Although I've done that before as well, but that's a tale for another time. It's also intriguing. How's everyone doing today? Good, excellent. How many people from out of town? Yeah, pretty much everybody. I actually grew up on deck 2. It's rough down there, other side of the ship. But look at me now. Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Gohstand. I'm a documentary photographer, visualist, drummer. I'm from San Francisco, California. Originally, this is my QR code that will take you to my danielphoto.com site, which we just relaunched. I stayed up late working on that. After 10 years, we redid it. It's looking good. And imagesales.com, I invented the world's first system to do imaging on sails for sailboats. On a lot of these cruises, I do the photographic lectures and astronomy lectures, things like that. On this cruise, I'm grateful to be the naturalist aboard. So I'll be up in the bridge, which is a great experience. The view from up there is incredible. They're also nice to me. We've got the best captain and crew up there. A lot of them are Italian, so we have a cappuccino maker up there, which is dynamite. I bought some chocolate to drop in there. But it's a great experience. So I'll be announcing today from up on the bridge. Now, please remember, once we enter the fjord, because of local regulations, so as to not disturb the wildlife, all those announcements are internal only. So if you want to bask in my glorious voice, you'll have to stay inside, but deck 9 is good for that. The Lido deck around the buffet area and stuff. We've got big windows and great places to view there. Outside is terrific, though. Definitely worth bundling up and getting outside. Both sides of the ship are great. Deck 9, deck 10. We'll be in there for about 5 hours. So you have time, don't worry. And anything that you miss on the way in, you can just catch on the way out. But we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. Here is my schedule for the rest of the cruise as well. So we have Whale of Time. I renamed it to Whale of a Time because I thought it sounded hilarious. That's after Ketchikan. Then we have Victoria. That's my photographic lecture. We'll talk about some emotional, visual, compositional concepts that you can apply if you're a pro or if you're just shooting for fun. Either one's great. We'll talk about some concepts you can use. And then we also have a teen talk and camp talk for the smaller folks aboard, which is a blast. It's amazing what 5-year-olds know nowadays. You know you can fit 3 brontosaurus and 1 blue whale? That's what I've learned. That's on the last day in Victoria. So come on by if you get a chance. Now, I have just a few questions for the audience I want to share with you, and then we'll get on with what's... So the lecture today, we're going to talk about the Aurora Borealis. How many people were out last night to see that? Pretty good show last night. Not bad at all. Really my first time seeing it with any effectiveness. So it was pretty good. We'll take a look at that. And I'll show you also a graph that I checked out just on the way out today. Just on the way out of the room, I thought I'd better check that out. So I've got a graph from today. So we'll look to the days ahead and see what the probability is like about seeing in the next few days. It looks pretty good. So I've got a few questions from the audience. I just want to hit right here. Let's see. Daniel, can you share more of your photography, please? Yeah, so that'll be on the last day in Victoria. Let's see. We've got... is it true what they say? Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, yeah, it's true. Let's see. How do you get your hair so soft? That's peanut butter and clam sauce. Just let that soak in overnight. What's that on your chin? That's a chocolate cake. Chocolate cake. And last one, let's see. Let's see, Daniel, you're the most marvelous, compelling, beautiful, deep, creative individual I've ever met. And I'd really like to get to know you further. You're so intriguing that visions of you fill my sleep. Oh. Jeez. You haunt my every waking moment. To be with you is my greatest compulsion. Oh, I don't even know how to respond. It's a little overwhelming. I wasn't even ready for that. I didn't know what to... Oh, no, wait, sorry. That's not from a guest. That's just a note I wrote to myself. Sorry about that. I didn't know how that got in there. I was just jotting things down. Okay, folks. So let's get this started. We got a lot going on today. I have a lot going on, as you can see by my desktop there. Okay, let's start with the Aurora Borealis. Then we'll talk a little bit about the fjord also. Now, for those of you going on the small boat excursions as well, I'll be down there for about 15 minutes beforehand, just to give you a little prelude. That will be much like what we're talking about today. But for those of you, those of them who didn't make the show today, I'll be down there also just to give a little bit of a prelude to the fjord, which is an amazing experience. How many people have been to the fjord before? Quite a few. It's an amazing experience. It really is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, or hopefully more often than that. Hopefully we'll see you back, but it's a great experience, so make it count. We're going to get in about 12:30 usually, but that's variable, so check with crews, see how it's going. That's dependent upon traffic and when the pilot gets on. So we have an amazing captain, of course, up there doing an incredible job. We also bring aboard local pilots because they just know this area like the backs of their hands. So they come on around 9 o'clock and just keep an eye on things as well to make sure that we're all safe. So they'll come on around 9. They've already come on. And then usually around 12:30, we'll be letting off the first boats for the small excursions and then heading into the fjord after that. We'll take a look at that in just a sec. Okay, first Northern Lights. So last night was a great experience, but be ready these days. We'll take a look at the graph, and we do have some solar activity. Again, it's a combination of solar activity and the weather here on our planet that determines whether or not we're going to get a good show or not. We'll talk about this further as well, but shooting with your cell phone is the way to go with a lot of these things. Oftentimes you can't see it with your naked eye, but your phone will pick it up. Its lens will open longer than your eye can take in light, and it's more sensitive to green wavelengths, so it will often see things that you can't. So go on up there and take some shots and see what happens. Let's talk a little bit about this. This actually was prompted by a gentleman, 12-year-old, on one of the cruises with his family, and he was asking me a bit about the background of this. So Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, or Northerly Light of Dawn, and Southerly Lights, AuroraAustralis, Southerly Light of Dawn. This is Aurora, from Greek is Eos, Roman goddess of dawn. Boreas is the Greek god of the cold north wind, and Auster, the Greek god of the south wind. Now, the four main anemoi, those are the wind gods of Greek mythology, and the Roman equivalents in parentheses. So we have Boreas, or Aquilo, god of the north wind and the cold winds of winter. Zephyrius, or Favonius, god of the west wind and the warm breezes of springtime. Notus, or Aster, god of the south wind and torrential storms of summer. Eurus, or Volturnus, god of the east wind and harbinger of fall. Now, in Roman mythology, Aurora, and this is a beautiful image, I'll show you in just a sec, she renews herself every morning and flies across the sky, announcing the arrival of the sun. First used in the 17th century and most likely coined by Galileo in 1623. Now, a lot of different cultures have different philosophies about what we're seeing in the sky. In Inuit culture, which is in the far north of Alaska, also Canada and Greenland, they see them as souls of the dead. In Finnish culture, firefox running across the snow so that his or her tail sends sparks into the sky. And in Chinese mythology, flames of good and evil dragons battling it out in the heavens, which you can kind of imagine. Now here's Aurora, beautiful image, renewing herself in the morning. Here's Boreas, actually modeled for that image. I think you can see that. There's continents. And notice Aster. Okay, a little bit of background about it. So we have the same phenomenon, north and south poles. Northerly lights again, Aurora Borealis in the south, for those friends of ours in Australia, New Zealand, etc., AuroraAustralis. Features almost identical. We have the two magnetic poles pulling the solar wind and these particles to the north and south poles. So we have a stream of charged particles being released from the sun. The time to the Earth takes about 1 to 3 days. So whatever's happening on the sun, 1 to 3 days later, that activity will reach us here on Earth. Geomagnetic activities created by interactions with solar winds streaming out of the sun and hitting our atmosphere and Earth's protective field, or the magnetosphere. Best viewing times here, because darkness, of course, right about 10:20, 10:30, after it gets nice and dark, till about 3 a.m. Last night I was up there about midnight or so and got some good views. Best season, there's several really. Winter months, because it's dark. Also during the equinoxes, there's a lot of activity oftentimes. Again, 1 to 3 days. Now, these are the main things that determine whether or not we're going to be able to see it. This is a planetary KP index. P for planetary and K for number in German, it turns out. Who would have known? There are a couple of sites that are great. Feel free to shoot and record anything today that's helpful. It's absolutely fine. So there are a couple of sites. This one is the best one. This is the NOAA government site. And this will show you the solar activity, whether we have coronal mass ejections, CMEs, solar flares up there, what kind of solar activity we have. This is a great predictor of that. It'll give you a forecast for the next few days. Also, I'll share with you some apps that do the same kind of thing. So there are apps you can get for your phone. If you have a connection here on board, you can download those. If not, next port day, maybe you can find some Wi-Fi and download those. But those are really effective because they'll tell you what the solar activity is like. as well as our upcoming weather, and it will show you in different geographic locations what the activity is going to be like. Some of it, it's not an exact science. So like spotting the whales, you kind of just have to be attentive and ready. For the whales, keep your binoculars ready, keep your cell phones ready for this. Stay up late if you can. I know we have early morning port days as well, so it can be a little challenging, but it's really an amazing experience. So this creates a lot of phenomenon here on Earth. So principal users affected by geomagnetic storms, electrical power grid. In fact, Quebec's power grid was knocked out for a day because of it. Spacecraft operations. We had a ham radio operator on a couple weeks ago, and apparently it interferes a lot with ham radio signals. And I like this one. And observers of the aurora are affected by the aurora. Who would have thunk it? Okay, so this is what we have. So we have solar flares, CMEs, activity here on the sun. The solar wind comes out, hits our atmosphere and the Earth's magnetic shield, and this geomagnetic activity pulls those particles to both the north and the south poles. Geomagnetic storm in Quebec in 1989. Different colors. So you'll notice we'll see a lot of different colors up there. Last night we got some really beautiful kind of purplish colors as well. But main colors are going to be green, which is indicative of oxygen, and red, which is indicative of nitrogen. So these particles hit our atmosphere between about 60 and 150 miles up, and the types of gases that they're interacting with are what determine the colors. That's why we get a lot of green primarily, and also some red in the nitrogen. Now, also our eyes are more sensitive to green. That's why we pick that up a lot. And your cell phone also will pick that up a lot. So how many people saw this last year? We had a lot of activity here last year. Well, that was some of the greatest activity in 500 years. So it's an incredible experience. A lot of that even reached the States. I had a friend in Dallas who had some incredible views. And if you're professional photography, great. If you just have your cell phone, with AI and everything, it's pretty amazing what they can do nowadays. So just go on up there, hold still, hold your breath in, hit that, and see what you get on the night or star mode. We'll talk about that in just a second as well. There are different storm levels as well, and those go from G1 to G5. So G1 is minor, moderate, and all the way up to the most extreme in G5. So we have the KP index going from 0 to 9, and the storm index going from 1 to 5. Now this is what you'll see on the site. So it'll give you an indication of what the activity is like in the north and south poles in this kind of diagram. This is again on the NOAA site. If you see red or orangey colors, something to be excited about, because that's looking good then. Here, this is from August 24th, so pretty normal, pretty typical. Usually you'll see it between 2, 3, and 4, somewhere in here. Now there's always a chance. I never want to discourage anyone from giving it a shot, because you just don't know. We might have some CMEs, some other solar activity that wasn't predicted. Next thing you know, we've got a pretty good show. So if you have a clear night, of course you need nice clear skies. If you have a clear night and you're up, definitely worth going up there and checking it out. And again, don't be discouraged if you don't see anything visually, because your phone can pick up a lot of things that you might not see. Here, this is from last year when we had all that activity. So you can see everything up 8 and 9 in the red there. And this is today's chart. So May 29th coming up, we have some in the early morning and throughout that day. So these are pretty good spikes here, especially here. That's 3 a.m. on the 29th. That's looking pretty good. So I'll keep an eye on this and try to keep you abreast of my announcements. But I would just say, as a blanket statement, in these upcoming days, it's worth a shot. You never know, but especially if it's a clear night and you happen to be up, or can stay up, or send one family member up there, see if it's worth doing while you keep snoozing. That's what I do. I'd send my kid up there. Please be careful on the upper deck, especially if it is wet, but definitely worth a shot up there in these next days. Tell you about that. Now this also shows you, as the activity gets more intense, the farther for the northern lights, the farther south you're going to be able to see it. So when it was really intense in the US last year, of course, it traveled farther south, and the converse is true, of course, down south. The more intense it is, the farther north it's going to travel, and the more visibility you'll have farther north. Okay, so there are many apps. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm just shooting you straight. A few things I've used. I've used Aurora now, which has proven to be pretty good. Most of these are free or cheap, but be very careful because one of them, and I forget, it might be my Aurora forecast and alert. I almost hit the button that's $12.99 a month or an hour or something crazy. So watch what you're hitting on there. But there are a billion of these apps out there. These are just a few that I experimented with, and they're very useful. Show you what we have there. They have alerts that you can put on there to let you know if there's going to be activity. It will show you the solar activity. It will show you what the weather's going to be like and what the activity will be like in different locations. So you can program in your zip code or your location, and it will tell you what the forecast is like. So these are very helpful. These are doing pretty much the same thing that I showed you on that NOAA graph site, but it does it in one app where you have all the components together in one view. So they're really very useful. Okay, photographing the Aurora Borealis. Now, I'm a documentary and street shooter, so my life's passion is to communicate the depths of human emotion and spirit through that art form without intrusion. So I just walk the streets looking for human interaction and trying to communicate what people feel unobtrusively and sensitively and deftly. That's my life's greatest passion, and in addition to drumming and other things I can't discuss here. So I almost never use a tripod. You know, I believe being in constant motion. Life's in motion. You have to anticipate, stay ahead of the action. Different kind of shooting. For this, if you're on land, tripod's invaluable. Keep it nice and steady there. Being on the ship, and I was feeling this out last night a little bit, it's only somewhat useful, of course, because we're moving, the ship's vibrating, and it's just transmitting that vibration through the tripod, so it's of minimal use on the ship. I prefer just using my body as kind of a shock absorber, you know, bend your knees a little bit if you're mobile, and just breathe in, hold your breath, hit that button. And now with AI and everything on the phones too, it has image stabilization. So even though you may be moving a little bit, it knows what your focal point is, and it'll pretty much keep that tack sharp anyway. A remote or self-timer is great if you are using a tripod or some kind of support, because you don't want to be touching the phone and hitting it and vibrating it when you're actually taking the shot. So if you have a remote timer, self-timer, it's great, or remote control. If not, just use the self-timer on your phone. You can put it on the 3-second self-timer, and then you can hit that, boom, take your finger off, and it'll take it 3 seconds later. At least then you're not, you know, disturbing the phone when you're taking it. You're not causing vibration when you're taking the shot. Cell phone, keeping it easy. Almost every phone. I had a very old phone until recently. Finally treated myself to a new one, which is essentially the same, only more expensive. Night mode, or you might have a star mode, something like that. You might even have an Aurora Borealis mode on your phone, depending upon which model you have and how modern it is. That will allow you to take a longer exposure and turn your flash off. So very, very quickly, we won't get too intent on this, but if you have further questions, please just come see me later. But there are two main things on a cell phone or on any camera, even telescopes in a way, that determine exposure. There's a third, we won't worry about it right now. How wide you're opening that lens, which is that's f-stop or aperture, and how long you're leaving it open for, which is the shutter speed. So how long you leave it open determines whether you're freezing things or things are in motion. How wide you're opening it, of course, determines how much light you let in, and also whether our depth of field is, which is just a fancy word for how much is in focus from front to rear. So in my street shooting, I'll often shoot in very close, open that lens up, which means things in the background will become soft and won't be distracting. In this case, we want to open it up so that we can just let in as much light as we can. Same with our telescopes out there, JWST now, or the Hubble. The larger that mirror is, the more light it will capture. Of course, we need that at night. So night mode or star mode. We'll talk about some manual ways to do it too. Some apps you can download if you don't have this kind of capability on your phone. Maybe you have an older model that won't allow you to do a lot of these things. These are some third-party apps that are free or cheap. Blackmagic, Obscura, Halide 2, and there's even one for the Northern Lights. And there are a billion apps out there. Again, these are just a few that I found. For Android, you have a couple as well. Now, if you're a pro or you want to do this on manual, if your cell phone will let you, you can put in these settings. If not, download one of these apps, and then you'll have a lot more control over it. These are some settings that are great. Aperture, how wide the lens is, open it up as wide as you can. Shutter speed, you want it to be about 2 to, I'd say, judging from last night, 8 seconds is good. 6 seconds, right in there, pretty good. But anywhere from 2 to 25. 25 is kind of the cutoff because I found shooting stars for my first times in New Zealand that after about 25, the Earth's rotation causes the stars to blur. And not in a good dramatic way, but just in kind of a blurry way. So 25 seconds is about your max. ISO, this is really just your sensitivity on the phone, not your personal sensitivity. About 1000 is a good range there. Again, if you can set these things manually, these are good settings for it. If that's overly complex, don't sweat it. Put on night mode or star mode and go to town. Is that cool? Pretty good? Okay. So these are some that I took the first time I saw it, about 6 months ago when I was on the ship. And sometimes too, you might not get all these intense colors, but at least you'll get some color up there that you can see. And again, you may not see with the naked eye, but try with your cell phone. So this is about 20 seconds or so. You can tell because the stars are still pretty sharp. Try to keep the horizon straight. You know, watch the horizon line. Say the beauty's in the details. And if it's off a little bit, you'll shoot my OCD through the roof. So don't do that to me. Using the full moon that night. Of course, the moon, better if we don't have the full moon because that's creating light too. That interferes with the viewing a little bit. But if you have it, just incorporate it, you know. Make lemonade out of lemons. Get that glinting off the water there. This is from last night. So, yeah, pretty nice, pretty nice. There's some great images out there. And this is just with a cell phone. I have some on my pro camera. I didn't quite have time to edit those down and bring those over, but I'll try in the next days to get to those too. First, I was just shooting with a cell because they're so great at this type of thing now. It's not right for my street shooting, but for landscapes and things like that, they're incredible. And it did do a really good job. So its capability is up to 10 seconds maximum. I hear it can do 30 and 3 10-second bursts, but it was shooting at 10 seconds. And did a great job of picking up the colors here. Vertical or horizontal, you know, that's an artistic call you'll need to make. That's really important too. You know, photographically, I'm not the artistic law on these things. I just found concepts and a way of shooting that's my own that I embrace, but it's important you find your own voice and your own way of creating. These are just some ideas that you can try to use within your own creativity. But some beautiful colors, you know. I just held it as steady as I could. I definitely had motion, but you notice it does a great job of stabilizing things. Really nice looking stuff. Really, you know, just right above the horizon there. A little bit. The question is if any of this was visible with the naked eye. It's the first time I've seen it with the naked eye. Some of it was. You could see some streaking and a little bit of green out there, and it was incredible, I gotta say. But don't be disappointed if you weren't up there. Don't give up, because hopefully we'll have some more activity in these next days, and it's always worth a shot. But anywhere from when it really gets dark, so I'd say about 10:30 p.m. until about 3 a.m. That's going to be the best range. I know it's late, but that's the best spot. 11 p.m., 12 p.m. 11 p.m. would be the earliest you'd have a really good view of it, something like that. Okay. These were about midnight, right about midnight. I was just going to go to bed. I was up working late on the website actually, and thought, oh yeah, I'll hit the sack. And then it dawned on me, man, you should go check it out. And sure enough, turned out to be a really good night. Some good viewing. I'm not allowed to make announcements that time of night. I was sorely tempted, believe me, but that'd be my last cruise. But I will try to keep an eye on it, though. And again, always worth a try. Now, if it's really fogged in or rainy, not as much. But if we have a clear night, give it a shot. Give it a shot after coming this far. Again, I'll try to keep abreast of it as well. Now, these are some from people around the globe. These are incredible. And we have credits at the end for these folks because these are some amazing shots. But beautiful activity there. Drop things into the foreground too. You know, they say photography is a two-dimensional and stagnant art form. So I try to introduce some motion and try to introduce some depth to the image. So If you're shooting on the street or shore excursion, maybe drop some things into the foreground, some flowers or something in the foreground, and let that image just kind of elongate like that so it has some depth. Even if mobility is difficult, you can do so much, just by moving the phone around like that. It's pretty, and all kinds of crazy angles and things that are difficult to do with a big pro camera. This I love. I'll do this a lot in my pro shooting, a wide angle lens, so you get this distortion in the corners. But I love that. And notice how the trees are mimicking the lines there of the aurora itself. I love that motion in there. That's a beauty. Gorgeous. You can tell these are about 20 seconds or so because they're just starting to put in a little bit of motion in the sky. Dropping the trees in there in the foreground gives it some context and some depth. That's a beauty. There's some amazing shots out there. And again, I saw incredible stuff from last year from people. Yes, if you have the water, fantastic. So utilize the ocean too. Of course, it won't be still like this, but still it can be a great dynamic. Maybe you may be able to use that reflectivity also. Dropping in the hills there, that's gorgeous. Again, watch that horizon line there. This is my favorite, I think. Someone said this is in Iceland. A couple people have said they actually shot the same image. Beautiful stuff, focus there. Oh, you can also light things in the foreground with just a little headlamp or a little flashlight. So remember, if you're on land, of course, a lot easier. Your camera's going to be open for, let's say, 10 seconds. So you push that button, boom, and take that flashlight and just swirl it around in the foreground, maybe on the trees or flowers or things like that, or friends or family that you have in the foreground to light them up, and they'll appear in the image as well. Better than using blinding flash on that. And there are a lot of great images out there. This I like too. I try to not drop things directly in the middle of the image oftentimes, but sometimes that symmetry is great. And look at the lines just going out there. Beautiful, perfectly balanced, equidistant, left and right. Watch that as well. That's a beautiful image. I used to take a lot of images like this with my partners. I'd ask them to go out there on that little road and act like they're longing for something. Turns out they were. Okay, that's another beauty. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous color. Again, a lot of green from the gases they're hitting. And the longer you leave it open, the more you'll get this kind of swirling and soft texture to it. If you do it a little quicker, it'll be a little more stagnant. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's flowing over from this location into words traveling. Again, they're lighting that a little bit in the foreground there with the light. Some beautiful swirls there. And again, these are hats off to these folks because those are their images, those last ones, and some beautiful, beautiful work there. Are we okay on that? If so, we'll hop on over to the fjord really quick. We're good? Okay, please, if you have further questions, just hit me up. Always delighted to meet new folks on these ships. I met so many great passengers over the years. Let's check out the fjord really quick. We'll see what's going on. So again, we're supposed to be in there at about 12 or so, 12:30. I'd be kind of up there by 12, stay ahead of the game a bit. But again, don't worry if sometimes a lot of people are up there at the front at first, but we have time. And try different spots of the ship too. If mobility is difficult, you'll have a great view there on deck 9 anyway, like where the buffet is, big windows there, grab a cup of coffee and a blanket and make a day of it. Or if you have a stateroom that has a balcony, please let me know which room you're in and I'll come by. No, that's also a great place to view it. But I'd still push yourself a bit and get out, because if you're out there and you can just take in the whole grandeur of it on all sides like that, it's immense. It's amazing. Okay, let's take a look at this. So Tracy Arm Fjord and also Endicott, which we'll see. So what is a fjord anyway? It's been on my mind for decades, often torturing my every waking moment. That's from little Johnny B. Messerschmidt, age 5. Off to a hard start. So essentially it's a deep, narrow gorge that's carved out by a glacier and sediment, and it's just acting like a hacksaw, carving out a path through there. They say U-shaped, but it's almost more of a V-shaped path. So very deep in the center. The opening toward the sea is called the mouth of the fjord. It's often shallow. The inner part's called the sea bottom. Most fjords are deeper than the adjacent sea. Tracy Arm is 1,254 feet deep, last time I measured. If the geological formation is wider than it's long, it's not a fjord. It's only a lowly bay or cove. Bum, bum, bum. So here are the ones in the U.S. Almost all in Alaska here. I have to do it with my hand because this doesn't show up too well on the LED, but it's a great screen. We also have the Hudson River Fjord in New York, and in Puget Sound, we also have a fjord system there. So we'll be entering into here. So both of these fjords are located here. This is to the Tracy Arm Fjords Terror Wilderness. I always thought Terror Wilderness may not be the best come on for tourism, but it was dubbed that because there was a Navy seaman about 100 years ago who got trapped in there. Because remember, as these inlets are small like that, it acts as a funnel. And I have a little sailboat actually in Florida that I'm going to sail south after this. And I learned this, very, it really put me on edge. One time I'm from San Francisco and I was sailing out of the harbor there in San Francisco near the Golden Gate Bridge. And as the water funnels through the Golden Gate Bridge, the currents become extremely strong. And 45 minutes later, I noticed I wasn't heading down towards the ballpark, but I was actually being sucked out by the current because the little motor wasn't as strong as the current itself, which was to be like 4 or 5 knots there, which is about 5 miles an hour. A knot's 1.15 miles per hour. So I noticed I was actually being sucked out on the bridge into the Pacific. So I made a beeline back into the marina before I had to call the Coast Guard. So as these funnel in there into these fjords and these little inlets, the currents become very strong. And this gentleman, Fjord, learned that the hard way. He was trapped in there for 6 hours and apparently terrified. So they therefore named it the Tracy Arm Fjords Terror Wilderness. I guess his bunkmates gave him hassled him about that for quite a while. In 1980, U.S. Congress designated almost 700,000 acres. So we have 2 arms here. So we've got Tracy Arm and Endicott Arm. Now, Tracy Arm is what we're going to try to get into. But this does, shooting you straight, this does depend a bit on the ice flows there, on the icebergs. Now, I used to think, well, as it got warmer in the Alaskan summer, we should have a clearer path because the ice is melting. But of course, the converse is true because as it gets warmer, that means that the glaciers are calving or breaking off ice more, and we actually have more icebergs flowing through. And it's true what they say about icebergs, tip of the iceberg, only 1/10 of the mass is above the waterline. 90% is below. So it can be dangerous. Although, as the captain of the Titanic said, an iceberg, how bad can that be? But we try to play it a little safer than that because we have a wonderful crew up there keeping an eye on things for us. So if we're not able to get in there because it's too dangerous, backup plan is Endicott, which is also incredible. They're both great experiences, just a little different. Endicott's a little wider and more straight. The glacier's a little bit more accessible. Tracy Arm's a little bit more narrow and has that S curve in there. 2 main curves, one to the right and then an S curve. They're both fantastic. Okay, some facts. 45 miles south of Juneau, 32 miles long, only about a mile wide, so you really feel like you can reach out and touch it. Those cliffs go 4,000 feet up, and it's amazing. Again, Endicott's a little wider, but still the hillsides are amazing, and those textures photographically. And when you go around the curves and the other hills appear behind it, that overlays an amazing experience and a great time to shoot. Named after the inventor of the Norwegian Model T, Henry Fjord. No, that's all right. Secretary of the Navy, Benjamin Franklin Tracy. Pristine waterfalls, towering icebergs, and cliffs that rise from the sea level about 4,000 feet. Last 10,000 years, like almost every glacier now, they're receding with CO2 levels, carbon dioxide levels raising, greenhouse gas effect. We have rising temperatures, and almost everyone's in retreat now. So again, Tracy Arm, we have twin Sawyer glaciers, North Sawyer and South Sawyer, South being the larger of the two. As we go through, if we do go down Tracy Arm, the north one is on the left. We'll get to a little spot called Sawyer Island, very tiny island in the middle of the channel. We won't quite have the line to see, the angle to see the North Sawyer Glacier.
Good morning, Animal Spirit guest. This is Captain Max speaking to you from the navigating bridge with a very important update. So attention, and may I have your attention, please.
Speaking of.
So due to an excessive ice condition that would make cruising the area unsafe, with the agreement of our experienced pilots as well. We have made actually the decision to divert our course to the nearby Endicott Arm Fjord instead of Tracy Arm Fjord. By the way, both fjords, they are in the same bay. So once again, this is very important due to an excessive ice condition that would make cruising the area unsafe. And with the agreement also of our experienced pilots, we have made the decision to divert our course to the nearby Endicott Arm Fjord instead of Tracy Arm Fjord. We are sorry for the change in plans and are confident you will equally enjoy Endicott Arm Fjord, which offers, by the way, the same beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, and stunning glaciers. So once again, very important, we are sorry for the change in plans, and we are confident you will equally enjoy Endicott Arms Fjord, which offers, by the way, the same beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, and stunning glaciers. So thank you for your understanding, and please continue to enjoy your day. Thank you.
All right. Well, speaking of, I did anticipate that one. I gotta say, I was ahead of the curve that time. Um, yes. Well, there you go. So I guess we'll be going to Endicott.
Thank you, Captain. Hey there, Spirit family. Just to reiterate what Captain Max said, due to an excessive ice condition that would make cruising the area unsafe, with the agreement of our experienced pilots, we have made the decision to divert our course to the nearby Endicott Arm Fjord instead of Tracy Arm Fjord. We are sorry for the change in plans, and we are confident you will equally enjoy Endicott Arm, which offers the same beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, and a stunning glacier. So once again, due to an excessive ice condition that would make cruising the area unsafe, with the agreement of our experienced pilots, we have made the decision to divert our course to the nearby Endicott Arm Fjord instead of Tracy Arm Fjord. We are sorry for the change in plans, and we are confident you will equally enjoy Endicott Arm, which offers the same beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, and stunning glacier. For those of you that are on our Tracy Arm Fjord tour, there will be no changes to your tour. And once again, you are going to enjoy the same beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, and there will be a stunning glacier as well. Thank you for your understanding. Please continue to enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. So just to reiterate, this is Daniel, your naturalist, and so what we're doing, this Tracy arm thing, that's out of here. We're gonna be going right into Endicott, and it's also beautiful scenery there, and I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's some stunning glaciers and wildlife and it's like that, and at least that's what I hear, and so that's be great. Okay, well, that's the plan, folks. All right. Well, at least everyone's in sync. It's fine. It is also beautiful, though. It's beautiful view. You're going to really enjoy. The hillsides, I've been there twice now and through Endicott, and the hillsides are really amazing, especially near the end there. And we do have a great view of the glacier, Dawes Glacier, at the end because it's a little straighter. So once again, we're getting, no, okay. Okay, wildlife. So potential wildlife, black and brown bears, deer, mountain goats. So if you have binoculars, how many people brought binoculars? Those are a great tool. They do sell them on deck 3 as well. Those are really a great tool for this. You might see little white dots up there, which are little mountain goats. Sometimes we'll see harbor seals, birds, hopefully some bald eagles, hopefully the kittiwake. Even if we don't see the kittiwake, I'm going to keep saying kittiwake because I just love how it sounds. Here's the North Sawyer and South Sawyer. I'll show this to you anyway. That's in North Sawyer. That's South Sawyer. And this is Endicott Arm Fjord. I got the jump on them. Put this in last week with Dawes Glacier at the end. It's really beautiful. Actually, you get a better view of this because it is straighter and not affected by the hills there. And we're going to get in as far as we can. It sounds like it's pretty clear, so we should have a pretty good view there. And what the captain usually does is he'll situate the vessel on one side. So remember, the left is the port side. if I may, left port, right starboard. I just remember on my own boat that there are 4 letters in the words left and in the word port. So left is port, right is starboard. And I'll also announce with 12 o'clock being the bow, the front of the ship, and going around in a clock like that. So who usually come up and we'll situate the vessel with the, depends, we're not sure which side first, but we'll situate it with one side of the vessel facing the glacier first, so the folks in the balcony rooms can get a good view of that for about 15 minutes or so. Then he'll rotate the vessel so that the other side will get a good view. But again, if you're up on deck, you can take it in the entire time. Okay, let's talk about icebergs really quick. So there are really 3 different kinds. The largest ones, iceberg officially is 15 feet or more above the waterline. Berg ebits, which are medium sized, 3 to 15 feet, and growlers, which are the smaller ones there. Any smaller than that, it's just an ice cube. There's a Titanic iceberg, height above the water 50 to 100 feet, length 200, 400 feet. So even back then, they knew about watertight compartments, but unfortunately, the way it was, just cut a swath along the side of the ship and breached 5 of the compartments. At that point, sadly, they were doomed. There are 2 things I found online that could be the iceberg. I believe it to be this one there on the right that caused that damage. This is another potential one, but I believe it's that one there from my research that caused the Titanic to go down. Here's another, Daniel, I was sitting around last night with my wife, Beatrice, and we were wondering why icebergs sometimes appear blue. If you can help us with this, we'll be glad to have you over for dinner next week. That's nice. Heck, we'll even be happy to give you $1,000 cash, just like each and every member of this audience should do at the end of this lecture. Oh, that's a really nice, very thoughtful comment there. Isn't that what that box is for? Yes, there's a box here. Just deposit that in cash, or you can drop your credit card in there, and I'll try to find you at the end of the cruise or something. I'll mail it to you. So fine. So yes, we have this blue. This has to do with the ice's density. So, and also red and yellow bands of light. Those are the longer parts of the wavelength, longer parts of the spectrum. Those are absorbed, while the blue light, shorter, is reflected. And this is the same phenomenon pretty much that makes our oceans appear blue and our atmosphere, our skies appear blue as well. Now, iceberg drift, you probably know that, but I give an iceberg trajectory through the ocean can be modeled by integrating this equation dvmt, where m is the iceberg mass, v the drift velocity. Of course, the variables fk correspond with the Coriolis effect. Now, I'm just kidding. I have no idea what that means. I was just trying to impress you. Okay, cetaceans. We'll go through this really quick. We'll talk about this more in the Whale of a Time lecture, but we do hope to see some whales during this trip. Main ones are going to be orca, predominant, gray, and humpbacks. We might catch a glimpse of those. Here's some information on their large. Again, 3 Tyrannosaurus rex will fit in a blue whale, Owen told me. Live up to about 200 years, especially the bowhead whale, which is in the very far north of Alaska. We won't see those, but they're integral to the culture up there, and we'll talk about that in the whale lecture as well. Humpbacks breaching. Orcas are killer whales. They are feisty hunters. They say between an orca and a great white, the orca would win. It's a toothed whale. There are 2 main types, toothed and baleen. We'll talk about that in the whale lecture as well. But they're very crafty, so always keep your eyes open. This one here, you never turn your back on an orca. You always be alert. It can be very dangerous. And I had a very close call. Sorry, it still brings back some memories. But this happened just a few weeks ago. I was there, and this one actually jumped over this fence and hid behind this tree and was waiting for me when I came out of the restroom. And just by the grace of God, I noticed out of the periphery of my eye, that was a close call indeed. I had to share that with you. Anatomy, again, we'll get that into a little bit more, but the main one is baleen versus teeth. Baleen just being the straining mechanism made out of keratin, same material as your nails. And bubble net feeding. Yeah, let's take a look at this really quick. We're okay, right? Yeah, we're okay. Let's go. Let's do this. It's all right. I want to show this really quick. We'll talk about this more again in the whale lecture, but they'll hem in the fish using this ring of bubbles to confuse the fish and get them in there like a fence. And once they're in there, you'll see how they hunt together, actually. They keep their jaws incredibly wide using the ventral grooves. And look at this. They'll come on up and boom. It's incredible. Taking all that water and fish at the same time, and then they'll use that mesh of the baleen to later filter out the water and just retain the fish, which they swallow whole. Now, their throats are only about the size of a cantaloupe or so it's mainly krill and smaller fish that they eat. Seals and sea lions, a little bit of a difference there. You can distinguish them there. Ears you'll see, their tails are different. There are a lot of sea lions that have taken over, actually. Oh, yes, they're adorable. Let's do that together. Ah, yes. They're beautiful. Sometimes they're camped out there. We might get a glimpse of some of those. And this is from my hometown, Pier 39, where I had my sailboat. And they can be quite aggressive. One day I was trying to get in there, and there were two massive ones that were sitting on the pier where I was trying to tie up, and they would not move. The tourists saw me like, please get out of the way, get out of the way. They wouldn't budge for anything. Otters. One more time. Ah, yeah. Yep. Now look at that. They're adorable. I kayaked a bit in Monterey when I was going down the coast. And 5 types of Alaskan salmon. See, those are, they're not bad. All right, come on. Don't give them a bad rap. They're all right. Here's a mountain ghost. We might see those, just little white dots up on the hillside. The bald eagle. Hopefully we'll see a couple of those. If we're lucky, I'll keep my binoculars open, try to alert you of anything I see, but stay out there as well. You'll have a great view too, sometimes better than mine even, so keep it open. This is interesting. Largest nest of any Northern American bird, up to 4,400 pounds, live 25 to 38 years, 1 to 3 eggs per year. National emblem of the U.S. since 1782 and a spiritual symbol for indigenous peoples for far longer. And this is interesting. They are opportunistic feeders, so they'll dive down and grab the food right out of the talons of other birds. This caused Benjamin Franklin to state, "For my own part, I wish the bald eagle had not been chosen the representative of our country. He is a bird of bad moral character. He does not get his living honestly." It's kind of a bad rap. They're not so bad once you get to know them. Look at that. Puffins, yes. And look at this one. Indeed. Overflowing with honest. And lastly, yes, so I'm going to leave you with this, and thanks for joining me today. Now, please don't tell the folks in the Shore Excursions desk about this, because this might be seen as kind of a competing offering and might cause problems with the management for me. So this doesn't leave this room, okay? Okay. Yeah. Between me and you. Yeah. All right. I'm offering this for your showing up today. This is an exclusive alternative tour. This is the Daniel Gohstand's Icy Reception Excursion. So you pretty much just find an iceberg and just push you on out there. This is bask in the beauty of Alaska in your own private iceberg. Meeting points and back of the kitchen deck too. Just ask for the ice pen. Only $50, cash only. It is hop on, hop off. Now your iceberg may differ, and remember, please, that return trip is not guaranteed. That disclaimer is really important. We have some reviews here. Let's check it out. Cold, says Lauren from Big Point, Virginia. Man, was it cold, says Jeff from Lawrenceville. So very, very cold, says Allison family. And these folks, we don't know. We just never heard from them again. But I'm sure they had a good time while it lasted. Okay, folks, thank you so much for coming on. Daniel, thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you've enjoyed it, let the folks know. If not, just forget all about it. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you from the bridge. Thanks so much. Oh, and remember, I do have coupons for you if you're going on a shore excursion. Please hit me up. Thank you.
I guess if it's a cloudy night, it's not as good.
Pretty tough. Sometimes you might just get some coloration behind there anyway if it's light. If we're really sucked in, it's pretty tough.
I really thought it was going to be cloudy all night. I never once even thought about looking last night. Because it had been so cloudy all day and everything.
I didn't really think about it either, to tell you the truth. I was heading to bed and I looked up and saw stars and thought, oh yeah, I space it a lot. At that time I thought, no, I better. But don't give up. We'll keep an eye on it and hopefully we'll get some more activity. Yeah, I will too for you. Thanks for coming. Hey, I'm sorry? Oh, good point. Thank you. I appreciate it. All cetaceans. You're correct, though. Good job. Yes, yes. How many can I give you?
Oh, I'll take 4.
Sure. There you go. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Sure, I'll give you a couple extras just in case. They give me a good little stack here.
Are the coupons just for this tour or other
Oh, I'll go now. Oh, these are for any future excursion, I'm told. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You need the shirt for your lecture.
I'm sorry?
You need the shirt for your lecture.
Oh, which one? Oh, this one. Ah, there you go. There you go. That would be a good one. That would be funny, actually. How many do you need? It's like, I'll give one extra just in case. Thanks for coming, folks. Appreciate you.
I'll take 4. What would be your suggestion on manual? I have a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. I'm going to go on one of the boats. I guess, is it going to be Endicott now, or are they still going to go to Tracy?
Well, we're going to be in Endicott. Okay. Yeah.
Like even the little boats that go out?
I think so. Okay. I think so. Well, I think so. Okay. I'm not positive. Those small ones might go into Tracy R, but I think they stay in Endicott. But I'm sorry, man. Your question, photography?
For photographing wildlife, like whales and things like that. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, bring the longest lens you have, but also bring a slightly wider one than the 70 if you have it, because the cliffs are in so tight. I'm shooting a lot, maybe about 40-ish or so. I use my 20 to 16 to 35 a lot still. So I bring both lenses if you can. Just try to stay steady, anticipate.
Are you opening up that f-stop?
F4, F5, 6. You don't need the depth too much. The speed's going to be more important than the depth because the boat's going to be moving. At least you'll probably be like about 800. Morning, how you doing? You'll probably be at like even 800th, 1,000th or so at 5.6, something like that. Have a great time, man.
So we just bought an excursion yesterday, so I guess these can't add on retroactively a discount.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, unfortunately. Okay. But hit them up in ShoreX, see what they can do. Unfortunately, I think not.
Okay.
But
I'll take them anyway.
Take some just in case. I asked them the same question. They said no, but hit them up. We'll see. Thanks.
I'll take 4 coupons and a picture.
Right on.
Scavenger hunt.
Oh, really? Am I okay? Good.
Sure, you're one of the people on the scavenger hunt.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. That's good.
The Northern Lights last night were very pretty. So
Beautiful.
for sure. So not as amazing as in October. We live in northern Indiana, and so like the whole sky was pink and absolutely beautiful. Last night you're
Incredible.
like, is that a cloud? Is that and then with the long exposure, then you can see all the colors.
Oh, I was excited. All these cruises. This was really the first time I saw it, especially with naked eyes.
My little app had popped up. I just laid down. We were out looking, and I was like, I think that's it, but I don't know. And then the app popped up, and it was like, if the KP index is high, go out. And I went back out, and I was like, for sure, there they were.
I'm glad you had that chance. Great experience. Hey there, sir.
Let's do the coupons.
How many can I give you?
Just 2, please.
2? I'll give you a couple extra just in case.
Get it well. Cool, thank you. It was very informative.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, thank you, man. That's kind of you.
Coupons. I don't. Maybe 3.
3? I'll give you at least 3 there.
Okay.
Is that the Holy Grail on your hat, or what is that on your cap?
It's margarita.
Oh, margarita. A little different than I was thinking. Thank you.